Cool. So now that we've gone through our trailer multiple times, figured out what our potential new timeline is going to look like, and we've drawn it in our storyboard with all the time sequences and drawings and potential ideas for music, we need to actually download our media. So you can see here I have my trailer pulled up. Like I said, I did add a link on the class website where you can download it, or like I brought up in some of the other projects, is that you can actually just cheat the system by going up to the address bar and typing SS in front of YouTube. Brings us to this website. As you can see here, it says download video in browser. So we're not going to click on all these, clickbait kind of things. We just want to go to download video from browser. And then we wait patiently, theoretically, and then it brings us to this. Okay, so you can just hit download, boom, and it should pop up down at the bottom of your screen. I'm using Chrome right now. This should also work in Safari. If you're doing it in Safari, your download will probably pop up here. Either way, it's going to end up in your downloads file, which is at the bottom. Okay, so, and I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to do it again. And so the next thing we need to do is that we also need to figure out what our music is going to be. So there's also a link in the class website for this. And so you can see here it's youtube.com audio library music. So the thing that's kind of cool about this is that we can scroll through. This is all copyright free music. We can go through and figure out exactly the different type of music that we want. So kind of what I have found that works the best for this stuff is just going to cinematic, and then let's see, I'm going to just search all. Okay, cool. And so in here you can go cinematic. All of these are already pre-designed to be cinematic type music. And like I said, it's all free, and we can actually go through here and figure out exactly what mood might fit our trailers. And for mine, like I said, I think happy for the beginning. So you can kind of scroll through and play it and find out what kind of makes sense. This actually might be not too bad. I actually already downloaded a couple of the ones that I already liked. And then I picked Draw Dark. And then for my horror type music, and like I said, I already downloaded that, so I'm already good to go. So I'm actually going to bring it down here, and I actually saved everything into a folder called trailers, so that way it's just really easily found, so you don't have to dig through all of this mess of stuff that you put on your desktop, and you should really keep it substantially cleaner than mine. Cool. So now what I'm going to do, I'm all set to go. I got my files in my trailers folder, and now I'm going to go to iMovie. For you folks, iMovie may not be there already, and so what you may need to do is go to your Launchpad, scroll through your potential apps, and then boom, iMovie's right there. Okay, you click on that. Ooh, let me bring this up too while we've talked about it. I've already talked about this for other stuff too. But the thing that's kind of nice is that in Max, if I know I'm going to use this app a lot, which I am, I can actually just click it, drag it down to my dock, and boom, there it is. So now from now on, I can just click on that and it'll bring me right to iMovie versus having to pull it up and going through the Launchpad every single time. Cool. So I'm going to click on this. And so what happens is that should pop up kind of like this, except for you guys, you won't have all of this stuff that you've already done because you haven't done anything yet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create new, and it gives us two options, movie or trailer. Ours is, even though we're creating a trailer, we're actually going to click on movie because trailers are kind of like pre-made kind of things. You might have done it on your iPad when you had it before. So, but we're going to make a movie because we want more options to mess around with. The first thing we need to do is that we need to import our media so we can actually have something to work with. And because I saved it in a folder called trailers, I just need to find that. Boom. So I have my nutty comedy music, I have classic horror, and my trailer right there. So I'm just going to, if I hit shift, I can actually select the first one and then hold the button to select the bottom one, and it'll select all three. So import selected, there you go. So now all three are sitting up top in my little area up there. The other thing you could have done, you can actually just drag it and drop it right into that area, and that works too. Okay. So let's start by just bringing down our trailer. I'll give you a really quick tour of iMovie. There's a lot of things that it can do now that it didn't used to be able to do, which is really nice and makes it so this is a really good entry point for anybody that's doing video. I have done a lot more elaborate video and have used programs like Adobe Premiere, and you know, it can do a lot of stuff, the Premiere, and I think it's really overcomplicated for our purposes in this class. And a lot of the techniques and skills and that kind of stuff that we can learn in this more basic program can actually be carried over into some of the more advanced programs too. So this is actually a really good starting point, even though like on the surface level, you're like, oh, this is so simple, right? But it's actually a really good starting point. Because like I said, you can do a lot of different stuff with it. So here's the quick tour. Okay, so here we can actually zoom in and out of our timeline, which is actually super helpful because we can actually go almost like second by second. So you can see 5. So that way, you know, hopefully, like I said, you should have done your little storyboard and we wrote down where each second is. So that way we can actually go through and be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm actually going to cut it here or I'm going to clip it here. So it gives us way more control versus if we have something that's this small. It's going to be a lot harder to find those individual little scenes. Okay. Up top, we have a handful of different options. So this is if we're dealing with audio, right? Here's a bunch of, I already have a bunch of music and kind of stuff saved on my computer because this is my personal computer. If we're going to add titles or any type of text, just like if we were in media, we can actually just click and drag, and you can see it'll actually throw it on top, but I'm so zoomed in that I need to. So you can see, boom, it's right there. And so it's kind of nice. It'll kind of give you an idea of what any of this stuff is going to look like just by clicking on it. So it's kind of, it's kind of convenient, kind of nice that way. Backgrounds for us, we don't really need to do this because we are doing just clips to begin with. You may want a creating world map. Oh, that's fun. At the beginning you might want a black screen or maybe stars for some reason. Like I said, for us, good, creating another world map. It's not really necessary, but it is kind of good to know that it is an option for other programs too. These are the transitions, fade to black, fade to white, all these different things. Some of these are super hokey, and that's, if you're going for that, that's okay. For our purposes, just because they're there doesn't mean we need to use them. I think some of the stuff is like that we can use as like a cross blur or the fade to black, cross dissolve. I think those are really good, but like a page curl doesn't really make a lot of sense for like what we're doing. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my media. Up here we have a handful of different options. So let's just click here so we can have something on the screen. Color balance. So essentially what color balance is, it is like for the we're grabbing a clip that's already been made, so really we shouldn't have to do any color balance. But you could do like a balance just to kind of get it's actually designed so if you're shooting video in a bunch of different times, you can get the stuff to look like it's kind of all been shot at the same place. This is color correction. And so I've actually used this to, here, let's pull up a little different scene, to kind of help set the mood sometimes. And so like a cool color kind of has like a darker kind of feel to it, where if we go the other direction, this has like obviously like a warmer type of feel. So like summer, happiness, where this way is like a little bit colder, scarier kind of thing. Same kind of with adjusting these things. Like we can go black and white, and we can really intensify the colors too. This, if you were going to do stuff like this, I would say, maybe you do it at the end and do it over the whole thing. And this is like the brightness of stuff too. Okay. Cropping, if you need a crop, obviously this is how you do it. There is a Ken Burns effect meh, it's kind of cheesy. Once again, stabilization. So this is if you're shooting with a handheld, if you're shooting with a handheld, iPhone or camera or something like that, you can stabilize it a little bit. I mean, the other thing is that, if you're riding your bike on a train tracks and holding holding a camera, all the stabilization in the world is not going to fix that. Okay. So, it's easier if you just don't have those problems to begin with. Okay. Audio, lower, raise. You can, if you're doing somewhere where there's a lot of like wind, you can actually reduce the background noise. That does help. Speed of the clips, filters. So just like on your phone, there are filters that you can set up to make it look, a little older. Let's see if we can go back into there. Good. So right now I have it set on vintage. You can do duotone, sci-fi, right? So you can see like you can do some pretty crazy kind of stuff in this that you couldn't do in the past. And doing it on the computer, you get a lot more options. Okay. So we're going to just kind of go back to how we were to start with. All right. What else is there? And then just kind of clip information. So, big adventure. This kind of just talks about this stuff. So remember, all right, cool. Let's see. So let's actually start getting into the editing aspect of things. So I'm going to actually shrink this down a little bit. I'm going to show you a couple different things here. So this is our whole clip. What we have here, if I can go to the end and I can actually drag, and I can actually shorten my clip, or kind of give create my little sections here. And I'll just show you how to do that to start with. So let's go. So the first one is at, let's see, where is that? Oh, it's 28, 22. Let's do it this way. 36, 32. My first one was at 50. Boom. All right, so I started right here. Okay. So what I can do, so I click there and it created that little line right there. So what I can do is I can actually go here and shrink it just to where it is at. Boom. Okay. So now I can go to the other side and then shrink it. Hopefully, there we go. And I can bring it down to where I want it. So it is a very short section. And this where it's kind of nice, right? Because like I said, I can just zoom in and now I can actually get a better idea of what I got. So I can hit spacebar and it'll show me. And I only want to see it to So here's the thing, right? Is that like there is audio in that, and do I actually want to use that audio? I actually don't want to use that audio that's with it because I'm actually going to actually put my own audio. So just like in all the other programs that we're using on a Mac, remember Control is my right click. So if I right click, I can actually hit detach audio. So now there's my video clip. And here's my audio clip. I don't want that audio clip in here. Okay, because it's not what I'm looking for. Because I'm going to bring my own kind of happy music into it in the next kind of section. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of stop right here, and then we'll move on to adding more clips and that kind of stuff in the next section. All right.